Hey there guys, welcome back to Urban Bounty, Melbourne, Australia. This will just be a video on my avocado trees and some advice on how to grow them in marginal climates. So this avocado on this side is the bacon avocado, and this side is the Hass avocado, and they've both been in the ground for about 3 years. Although the Hass was probably 3 years old when I put it in the ground, and the bacon was only about 1.5 years old. So probably the first thing you want to consider when choosing a spot for your avocado is full sun. So as you can see, I get probably 90% of the day these two are in the sun. And then the second consideration would be drainage. So you'd want to choose somewhere in your backyard that had good drainage and didn't get flooded, or if it did, like this spot used to, you have to build up the soil, because avocados, they like water but they don't like standing water. So I built this soil up with soil that I brought in, and I keep it regularly mulched just with gardening clippings. So if I didn't build them up on the mound there, they wouldn't have survived winters here in this. This is the lowest part of my garden. But as you can see, building them up on the mound in full sun, and they're thriving just after a few years. You can see how many avocado we're getting on the Hass per branch. So these branches I've had to tie up because there's so many avocados on this tree, and there's already been about 60 harvested, and I'd say there's still about 60 to 100 left on the tree. Now these are perfect avocados, and one thing I've noticed is they hang on very well in the wind. So if your tree is going to get a bit of wind, it usually won't result in fruit drop. Well, that's my experience anyway. But as you can see, beautiful full-size avocados, Hass, all over this tree, and it's only been in the ground for 3 years. So with avocado, you'll need a B type and an A type avocado variety to cross-pollinate each other and plant them so that they can cross-pollinate each other. These are at a distance of about 3 meters. And this is the bacon, which is a B type, and the Hass further away there is an A type. So the male and female flowers will open at the same time on each plant, but not at the same time on the plant itself. Another consideration is protection from the elements while the plants are young. So once these plants get to this size, I've found they're bulletproof. They can handle frost, 45-degree days, no protection. Wind chill. But while they're young, they tend to have a green trunk, like on that branch there. And while the trunk's still green, you'll need to place pickets around the trees. And when you get a high wind chill day, or a frosty day, or a day above 35 degrees Celsius, you'll want to wrap that tree while it's young with shade mesh, and also put some over the top of it. I used to put an umbrella up over the top connected to this bamboo on the extreme weather. But I found once the tree gets a brown trunk, and I'll show you underneath the canopy here, Once the trunk browns off to that stage, these trees can handle anything that Melbourne can throw at it, except wet feet. So don't forget to build your soil up. That's the most important thing before you start. So I'll just show you the trunk of the Hass. You see, once it's gone that colour, that diameter, these are completely Melbourne hardy. So I've left the pickets in just for a bit of final wind support until the tree gets a little bit thicker in diameter. But those pickets used to be to wrap shade mesh around. I'll see if I've got any old photos of or video of the tree when I had the shade mesh wrapped around, and I'll insert them into this video. Regarding fertilisation, when I initially brought the soil in to build the mound, I added plenty of fertiliser, manures, a bit of gypsum, and then since then we just give it an annual sprinkling with blood and bone, and all of our garden scraps get thrown underneath the tree. So that seems to be enough to produce good quality fruit. So when we do a prune of our beans or peas or melons or anything really, that just gets thrown on top of this pile, and it just breaks down. So that, combined with just an annual sprinkling of blood and bone meal, that seems to be enough for these avocados. Overall, they're a beautiful tree, evergreen, and they need a bit of space, or you could keep them pruned if you didn't have as much space as I did in this garden bed. But you can see here the bacon's starting to push out a lot of flowers now. It's amazing how many flowers the bacon will get. And this is mid-July, so smack bang in the middle of winter, and the tree is pushing out flowers. It tends to flower a couple of weeks earlier than the Hass, but the Hass got a bit of browsing damage from possums, which seem to like the new shoots, but only on the Hass. So this tree would actually be normally covered in new growth like this, all on the tips, but as you can see, the possums jumped in there and ate all the new growth off. Hasn't seemed to set the tree back that much, but yeah, that's why there's not much new growth on the Hass. Alright, so that's about it for the avocados. If you look after them like a pet until the trunk browns off, it usually takes a couple of years, you'll be rewarded with a pretty hassle-free tree. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.